So Primordial is an independent film directed by Eric Whiting out of Ohio, and it stars Mary Lee Osborne as a lead role. I am going to be giving this a spoiler-free review, and this is one of my first, if not the first, spoiler-free review that I've given on this channel. I don't really practice a lot with spoiler-free reviews. First of all, I'm just going to say right off the bat that I believe that any review at all is a spoiler review. I spoiler-free, like if you haven't seen the film and you really want to check it out, go check it out first. Don't even watch the film, then come back and watch this review. But I am going to give this review with, well, basically no spoilers, but I find just talking about any movie is already spoiling it. Like for me, somebody who really likes to go into films blind, I take anything as a spoiler. And when it comes to independent films especially, because of usually their marketing is much more, it's much more underground, it's much more restricted to festivals, it's much more word of mouth. Independent films are much more of a treat to enjoy blind, or knowing as little of it as you possibly can. And with a vision like, well, like Eric Whiting's, or like any independent director usually has, it's basically they're a lot more fun to go into blind. But I'm going to attempt these spoiler-free reviews because I'm going to have to give a lot more in the future anyway. So yeah, let's basically get down to it. Mary Lee Osborne basically plays this this young woman, late 20s, early 30s. She's kind of usually down on her luck. She has lots of anger problems, and quite a bit of substance abuse issues, especially with alcohol. And she's basically looking for any jobs that'll pay her. Like she works as a cleaning lady. She works as a painter. She'll take any odd jobs, basically to, you know, have a roof over her head and food in her stomach, and get wasted too. We all need to do that. So yeah, she's you can tell that though that she definitely has a lot of anger issues. She really is into guns. She really is into gunplay. She's very outspoken. Which is like, she's a cool chick. She's the kind of chick that you would want to hang out with. She's definitely like down to earth, but she's very easily angered, and she's not hard to piss off really, but she's also like, she knows how to stand up for herself at the same time, which is good. So there's the atmosphere in the film is quite dark. You could like there's a lot of like the outskirts of like Ohio, and a lot of suburbs. There's a lot of black and white scenes, which really plays into kind of where the story of the film is going, because the black and white scenes are filmed a little bit differently than the rest of the film, where it's in color. And from like throughout the film, throughout acts 1, 2, and 3, the black and white scenes oh my god, the black and white scenes seem very very kind of escape, like it seems like the character's kind of like escaping from her life to kind of a reality that she's creating, in a sense. That's kind of where I landed on it, and that's kind of the theme that I found it to be, up until the very end, where these black and white scenes take a whole different spin and become kind of nightmarish. So where she would escape to find peace from her life, she kind of ends up falling, I find, into these same black and white scenes, but more nightmarish, more like she doesn't want to be there. She kind of just landed in them. There's a lot of scenes that are filmed with like black or dark backgrounds, which I love. I always like that in films. It's got great dark cinematography. very dark cinematography, and some snowy atmospheres, being like the location that it was filmed and stuff. Really feels like the environment really feels authentic, basically, is what I'm trying to get at. So yeah, she's down on her luck when it comes to jobs because a lot of people really can't afford her, and a lot of people, like, most of her jobs are temporary anyway to begin with. But she ends up meeting this guy named Alan at a party that's hosted by a family that she cleans for, and she meets this guy Andy, and then he ends up introducing her to a job at a locksmith company, and she meets a lot of interesting characters there. This guy named Tayshawn, who's one of the funniest characters in the film, I'd say. Smitty, who ends up being like a complete psychopath. And yeah, she's basically working in this company for a bit, and eventually she ends up being laid off there too. But then she discovers that this company is more of a cover for something darker. Basically, debt collectors is what goes on, in the underground of the company. So she gets led into that, and she's desperate for money, and she has anger issues already, so she finds it as an opportunity to make money and vent at the same time, which basically sends her down a spiral of more alcoholism, more anger issues, and more violent thoughts. And Whiting is very, very, very good at character studies, and really fleshing out characters. And I find this with Primordial 110%, and I do find it as well in the next film that I'm going to be reviewing by him. He's very good at writing, and like I said, really fleshing out characters, especially focusing on one, the main one. She also has this best friend named Tina, who is also a big character in the story, but they have a very loving bond, but Tina is a very different character than Valerie is. Valerie is the main character, played by Mary Lee Osborne. I am so bad with names, I literally have to check every single time. But yeah, everybody's good in this film. Mary Lee Osborne is actually an actress that I'll be looking more into because she does a phenomenal job in here. I wonder too if like how similar she is to this character in real life, or if she's nothing like this character in real life. I wonder if there's similarities to her personality with the character, or if she's completely different than the character she plays in here. I'd like to shit. The TV went off. Whatever. Oh, there's a character, this creepy neighbor guy who I swear was Eric Whiting, the director, and not that I've ever met the guy, so I wasn't 100% sure, because usually directors kind of show up in their films, so I was like, is that him? I gotta see this commentary, and there is a commentary in this DVD. I'm like, I gotta see this commentary, see if it was him. Yeah, it was him. He's so funny. He plays the creepiest motherfucker. Wow, like I said, the characters are good in this film, and like I said, really fleshed out, and that's basically where the story goes. She starts to become this kind of bounty hunter, debt collector with this Andy character, and she just falls down a really, really dark path, and people start getting hurt, and she starts getting hurt, and she gets stuck, and eventually she gets into a place where it's not very easy to get out of. And there's a lot of scenes with like posters in the background where there's a lot of references to all kinds of pop culture. Um, there's a poster of Slumber Party Massacre, which I was like, hey, I love that. Godfather, you know, everything you can think of it, and it's a lot. So, like, it happens a lot throughout the entire film. You're like looking at the background and you're like, oh shit, I know that. Oh shit, I love that. It's good. And but yeah, so that's basically the gist of the film. Keeping it as spoiler free as possible. I recommend it. I love independent directors, so I'm always going to support independent directors. And these films feel very real in the sense where the characters aren't. They're not. They don't feel fictional. They feel like characters you would run into every day. That's what I love about independent cinema is the characters feel so authentic and characters that feel like everyday people that you would know, not people that you only see in Hollywood. Like, not that there's anything wrong with massive films like Marvel, but you can only deal with fucking fiction so much. You got to get a little bit of realism into your life every once in a while, and Eric knows how to direct a very personal and meaningful film, in my opinion. So Primordial is a recommendation for me, and yeah, and like I said, with the lead actress Mary Lee Osborne, it says actually some stuff that she was in Babysitter Massacre, yeah. But yeah, so that's all I got to say about that. Till next review, that's Primordial, and I recommend it. So cheers.